Of Rada's smithery at Penzance many years ago. Harvest time somewhere in Ludgvan. Still in Ludgvan. Harvesting potatoes at Gulval. One of the old GWR buses waiting at the railway station. Horse-drawn wagonettes outside the first and last Penzance. And in the front a little donkey and shay. The horse-drawn bus leaving Penzance for Land's End. That's a picture of one of the first motor cars in Penzance. Somewhere around the late 1890s. Digging tank traps at the Eastern Green, Penzance in 1939. And the gentleman on the left with the pick is Mr. Alec Beachman, the local MP. Group of men ready to go hare coursing, which was quite popular in the old times. That's John Rowe's shop at Higher-Bedewan. That's a tragedy at Levant Mine. October 1919. Some of the relative waiting at the top of the pit head. That's the Star Inn at St. Just. And the stone steps are where the horse riders used to climb onto to jump onto their horses. That's a picture of Trewellard. Note the 3 geese. And that's Pendeen Sunday School Parade. Carnview Terrace on the right. And here we have Empire Day at St. Just. Wesleyan Sunday School at Carnyorth, out for their annual treat. And that's a picture of St. Just's Silvertown Band. And that's Trewellard Band of Hope. And now in the Plain and Quarry area at St. Just. Christian Sunday School. That's a picture of the old slipway there at Newlyn. Again a picture of Newlyn. And here we have one of Mousel. Heading down to the wharf area. And that's Dame Laura Knight, a member of Newlyn Art School. An old gentleman fetching water. St. Buryan with their Wesleyan Sunday School banner. And that's at Penberth Cove. Another picture at Penberth Cove. A fishing boat at Porthgwara Cove. A few of the old fishermen at Porthgwara Cove. Not very far from Land's End. A more modern picture with a pretty girl at the cove. And that's taken at the Land's End. That's a motorcycle race getting underway from Land's End. Some of the Land's End Boy Scouts. And their Scoutmaster. And now we're at St. Ives at the lifeboat station. That was taken sometime in the mid-30s. That ship, the Glamorgan Coast, was wrecked at Cape Cornwall, 1932. That's the Bessemer City of New York. And it ran aground at Penzance Point, St. Ives, 1936. In days gone by, the first and last public house at Sennin was the last in England. That is Sennin Cove. Sorting out the crabs at Sennin. Some of the crew members of the Sennin lifeboat. The coxswain is Mr. Morris Hutchings, and that's a French ship, the Ornaist. That one went aground at Perraneuthno. St. Michael's Mount can be seen in the background on the right. And there's some old fishermen of Mousel back in 1909. Ben Hillwright, Martin Terwaras, Mark Blewett, Benjamin Pender, Wilfred Pender, Frank Maddern, Joe Alkin, and William Henry Osking. And that's Mrs. Iglesias up at Mousel Bird Hospital. Mousel Harbour, the ship in, top right. And notice, no lobster pot. That was taken somewhere around 1900. And that's a picture of the old warspite. She came aground at Prussia Cove in April 1947. I was working at Marazion at the time, and I remember her coming in. That's the crew of the lifeboat, the Penlee lifeboat. Frankie Wallace, Betty Madron there. Another wreck, this time at Porthleven. That's a Norwegian ship called the Gunvar. Went on rocks near Blackhead in 1912. Volunteer lifesavers, the Land's End area, back at the turn of the century. Picking daffodils at Buscana, near Penberth. Sorting out the fishing catch at Newlyn. And there's some of the fishing fleet off the harbour entrance. Having fun at Marazion. Somewhere in the 1950s. That's a wreck that occurred in 1952, the Liberian steamer the Liberty, and it went ashore under Pendine Lighthouse on the way to St. Just. That's Richard Warren's bus. That old picture was taken at Barnoon, St. Ives, early in the 20th century. Fishermen tarring ropes back in 1924 at Senning Cove. That's a picture of Newlyn. It was taken 1901. Doesn't seem to have changed such a great lot. Taking pilchards out of the nets. Fishermen baiting their lines at St. Ives. Fish packing in West Cornwall. Going to markets all over Britain. And that's at a fish auction in Newlyn. That's a picture taken at Chapel Square at Crowless, early in the 1900s. The old jouster holding up a mackerel or something of that description.